of the PUBG Mobile World Cup. We're getting into our opening game. Strap in, as Legacy is in the making.
Join us now as we prepare to crown the champions of PMWC. Our first match of the day here on Sandhawk, playing path over towards that western side, towards Docks. And you got Twisted Minds heading out early, Alpha 7. Not quite hitting the ground just yet. Alula IHC on that western edge haven't had too much impact here, but you can see our top players, Ragey Ocio, raging in these matches. 27 eliminations, putting everyone in the pin during this tournament. 5.5k damage. He's gone insane during this tourney, and it's so nice to see. It's so nice to see. It's Twisted Minds and Talon, the double T's, at it again.
This is way worse for Talon as well. Currently that number 3 team, yes, you've got about 20 to 30 points of distance between you and making your way up towards the top, but struggling off the back of an awkward encounter with Twisted Minds to open up the day is the worst case scenario. As at least a reply onto Obscure, misery strikes first, but we're already suffering casualties in the lobby.
People understand that, you know, what they need to do is get into the match, get a good start here. Hot drops might be the angle. It's the last Sandhawk of the tournament, and this is where usually this happens, is you bring out some weird tech that people haven't been expecting because they won't see this map again. You don't have to prepare for another map. So I do like this, potentially get ahead. IWNRX, they get a player knock. Twisted Minds down to 2 now with 1 player knock themselves. And Boom Esports will reap the rewards. And I think for 6th place for Boom, they're looking to head further up. Right now, 6th is 75 points, 5th, 76, 4th, and 77. So there is a real tight gap between those 3 spots and a real jump up in cash if they're able to move up the leaderboard.
A lot to play for. You have to bring your A game. Yeah, GK first from Tong Jiabao as well, currently in 4th place. He was looking over from a distance. This is his POV. Of course, from that opening bout, the hot drop between Twisted and Talons, he's just been peeking around the edge of the doorway, the threshold, getting the assess on it. They might move down towards him. I mean, Axel's in the tree line. Solo right now, split from the squad.
I mean, the players over on Talon really low, and they haven't had access to, honestly, many supplies in terms of meds, so GK first could get pretty smooth 1v4, honestly. He hears them. Axel knows. He has the third-party peek.
Jump up with the burst. GK first. His big boon could be the secondary, but they've got a DBS. They exchange blows. You get the pickup back up just as the rest of the squad arrived, and that's only Longs. You're actually not in a great spot for this. It's unfortunate his position was spotted in his mind, but for Talon, that's a saving grace.
I do enjoy the way they just stared him in the eyes.
Yeah.
As he was looking through the window from the outside of the third-party peak. Only player has picked up some pretty good moments in the past for Tong Jiabao, currently in 4th place. Look at the remedied situation, but there are eyes on for the sidelines. That's 4MV. We're currently in 13th place.
Right down towards the bottom side.
Team that we predicted to be around there as well. We just thought that they might choke in the finals a little bit, which is unfortunate because they are a really good team.
They are. We knew they had firepower. I think we said they'd be around 12th towards the end of the tournament, expecting them to struggle here in the playoff portion. And it's felt like that's the way the story has been written. We'll see how they end their day. For now, it was a nice little stab onto Tong Jiabao. You saw that opportunity, you take a few shots. Of course, they're already down GK first. They don't want to overcommit and stay in this dangerous territory, knowing you've got eyes on from separate angles and the compound now being firmly controlled by Talon. Hello, though. Boom. They get that opening tag across, but instantly, Tianba, roaming as a pack, they find him. Take one straight away. So, boom, suffering down to a trio as well.
Yeah, not a good way to start your game. I think Boom actually started off with an elimination from their side, which is not bad, but yeah, losing a player, not great here on Sandhawk, especially on an Eastern shift like this, where you want to be able to hold one of the many compounds that sit in this area as a 4, take those angles, take those sight lines, set yourself up for success towards the end game. But it's Alpha 7, Recheck. Once again, let's quickly take stock of where they are. Alpha 7 in Lakawi over towards the water. And they'll have to be still like a pond here. Not let the ripples of reject bother them too much. These guys over towards Quarry at the moment, behind Team Liquid. A bit of a queue setting up here. Patience needed.
There is no room for mistakes today. That is the biggest part. As much as you have to play aggressive, you have to play with confidence and switch up your play style. Keep teams guessing, potentially bully some squads. If you make the first mistake, it could all come tumbling down. DX Xavier, they swoop in. This was IWNRX that found an opportunity to fight versus Boom, but now they're getting thrust into an up-close engagement. IWNRX replying back. The DBS rip-roaring. Shots from the sideline go in. Sara down and out as Ayala from Team Liquid kicks off that engagement, but Reject are moving up. They smell the damage. They smell the potential for points here up against the fight that's going on in front of them, but IWNRX are already cleaned up.
There's blood in the water, and I think for Reject, they can pick up some points here. This is what they've been trying to do most days, is just get as many points on board from these games. Crazy in a dangerous situation. The vehicle's popped, and in comes Team Liquid from behind. Everyone's gunning for points here.
A fight's breaking out. Team Liquid third-partying onto what remained of DX Xavier with Paragen falling to the wayside. Nice nades as well. That takes down Boom as Divine's able to get a clean hook across. But you've got to withstand the test that Liquid are bringing towards you. They outnumber them in the battle of attrition. The difference is you're fighting an uphill battle with Reject controlling some cover.
Regiocio goes out to pick up some loot here from the death crates, potentially some nades, some more stims, etc. I think he gets a whiff of an idea of where Team Liquid are. Holding behind these rocks, drops a smoke, potentially cross. Regiocio, quick peek out, gets some good damage. This guy has been on fire throughout this tournament.
We've been so complimentary of the power that OCO has had from distance in a lot of these fights. Problem is, he might have bitten off more than he can chew here. He's been taking pot shots, but they isolate him. So Reject, that #2 team, down to just a duo.
Not too many elims either. Divine has to back off. This was a massive fight that broke out. And we talked about the queue that sat in this situation, and everyone started to bustle and hustle and push in front of one another. It's created this horrid third party, fourth party, fifth party on top of this mountain. Divine has to hit some shots with the DBS, gets the first one, and there needs to be support here. A Mythic will finish him off. Duello has a nade.
Duello the duelist. Is he handy with his steel on this one?
Oh,
tries to reposition from the nade. Pot shot round the corner, the car goes in. Duello, good for the first fight. Some damage done on him as well. The HP pool for Liquid isn't amazing. They've got to be on target with the utility usage to force Duello back. He goes in for stim. Meanwhile, across the map, everyone is scrapping. You got damage in the back line, off the heel, but not quick enough for the response. Reject go down early in game one.
Team Liquid coming out the gates blazingly fast here. Up to 6 elims despite losing a player, but Alpha 7 still in the game, down towards the southeast. Potential for them to get a big third party off. Tongji Bao starts to harass over towards 4 Miracle 5s as Doc goes down.
This was Tongji Bao that looked like they had a very bumpy course going into game one with the opening sequence, but they realize if they want to fight for a placement, they've really got to fight for it. They bring the hurt onto 4 Miracle 5s. Like you said, Alpha 7 at the minute allowed to stay out of trouble. Just assess the lay of the land. Knowing they're ahead in points, they want to take smart battles where they can rack themselves up those elims. For Miracle Vibes don't get that blessing. They get swamped by teams. DRX are now beating onto them.
Alpha 7 looking to potentially move their way up the hillside. Out comes Soez, good spray, and 4 Miracle 5s are down again. Removed from the game. Down to 10 teams, mate. We're so early in the game, and everyone's trying to gun for as many points as possible to ladder up, to get further outside into those top rankings, earn some more money on this tournament. No one's pulling any punches during these games.
That first game of Championship Sunday was always set in the stars to deliver. And the the stars are shining at the minute. Mafioso from a distance, looking out onto the rotate from Tiamba. This is the replay from IWNRX, that first engagement that kicked off a huge bout between all of our squads, fighting over control of potential elimination points. That's what triggered the move in from Liquid, the shutdown of Reject, and left us to where we are now.
Alpha 7 almost loses a player there. I don't know who it was on the team. I believe it was Mafioso, yeah, who took a very heavy beating from up high. And again, it does feel somewhat like Alpha 7 early on in the day get a little bit worried about their positioning. They want to play a little bit more passive, which feels very strange considering towards the start of the tournament where they beat out Reject the most was just on those full frontal plays where they ran at them. And now you have a bit of a switch up where it's Alpha 7 playing much more safe and Reject just getting stuck into it. It's almost as if either team has sort of learned from one another and what each team does best and how they can add that to their own arsenal. But I do think that Alpha 7 just plays better as an aggressive team.
Oh yeah. When you see them feeling themselves in these matchups, when they can roam as a wolf pack, everyone is so on point with the gun skill. They have those games where it's just elim after elim, fight after fight, and they look so decisive in doing so. For Twisted Minds, this is very uncomfortable though. 2 players alive, one of them barely limping out of the situation. Ratto Boy trapped behind the car as Talon put the pain on. For Talon though, this is not a great start to the day for our number 3 team.
It's sort of amusing because I think Twisted Minds has been one of the most frustrating opponents to come up against in these games so far because they're consistently bothering 1 or 2 teams. They don't get far into the match. It's just like they pick one team and then they have a grudge match with them the entire match. It doesn't make a huge amount of sense. Here comes nades down towards Alpha 7 on the vehicle to pop him out the way. Good move from Shan as well, but a great Molotov from Alpha 7 to get him out from that outpost. The overlook being removed is a really big deal. You can't line up very good nades now. So I have to guesstimate the position of Alpha 7 down the hill.
And he would have been such a problem. He had a great position up there. You could see it from his POV when we first joined the fight, the way it looked like he was set up to potentially deal a ton of damage onto McGrellin. That elevated angle would have been so useful for him. They're forced back. This is Alpha 7 with a 2-2 split in the way they're playing this one as well. So you've got backup from range with Mafioso. And then the focus on the front. Oh, Bastab onto Tiamba. That's the RX taking a piece.
Power. Al-Haji here taking down the remnants of IHC. The rest of the team actually does get into the circle. They're on the northwest side, so not a bad engagement from them. Stage 3 though. 26 players. What is this initial Sandhawk? It's been so action-packed so far. DRX burning away.
DRX burning through the flames, but that's turning the heat up as they take the battle to Tiamba and put a lot of pressure on them. Alpha 7 moving up, regrouping somewhat as well. Three-pronged attack with the push in here, looking to actually commit off the back of the damage from this eruption. The fight from the swoop in from DRX. Team Liquid also to instigate a battle here. Shooting underneath the floorboards is good for a bit of a pick-me-up. Mafioso needs to drop back though as he takes a hit.
A little bit worried here. Now just one player remains here for Tiamba. But Lions, they've got eyes on. They see Alpha 7. They work their way up the leaderboard. Got himself 1 elimination. And in a fairly solid position here. Lined up along the high ground. Revo cannot peek out for too long. McGrellin left behind. Potentially, Linux is a little bit of a backstab opportunity here for Talon. On to Alpha 7 as McGrellin does not get back to the team quick enough.
Depends what information he's given. It's going to be a bit of giveaway as well with the sound and smoke coming out of the vehicle if he tries to make his move. Slowed down on the timing as well from the geometry as he's got to reposition himself. Going to clear out inside the building. Top himself up with some extra loot. Think about the sustainability of his potential late solo play. See how long he can survive. Revo's been getting pelted by bullets every time he peeks and again has to tuck in.
Yeah, a lot of teams now have information of where Alpha 7's playing, and I think that's the most difficult part for them at the moment, is that because they're on this high ground, so many teams have already scouted them, that their removal from this location is going to be a tricky one. Likely going to wait for the circle to come their way. let it bless them a little bit and play off the back of that. But if they have to move, Tiamba's not going to be happy with them. Alliance is not going to be happy with them. And Twisted Minds might be able to get some side swipes. So for Alpha 7, they've made plenty of enemies already in this match.
Linux tapping away, slowly skulking forward as the zone ushers him in, as the blue starts to arrive. Last second opportunity to get suited and booted. And then he's got to hope that no one is watching towards his angle. That in the meantime, attention is drawn elsewhere from a fight breaking out. Alpha 7 still just with a slight split, assessing the overall lay of the land and getting a read on where Tiamba have gone off the back of that previous engagement. You might have eyes on this as well. Good high ground for the late flank from Talon.
Yeah, I mean, for Linux, like we said before, he could be a bit of a problem, but I think that they have a good idea of where he is. Belly to the ground now. Grass brushing up against the nose. Just hope he doesn't sneeze and alert the rest of Alpha 7 to his location. Next circle, stage 5. We'll be hitting soon. Ending around barn here. A lot of high ground to be working with. And that big old dip into barn itself. Most teams just angling themselves on the outside with nice little valley outlooks over towards one another. And we do center up over towards the side. Right now, Team Liquid has a really nice spot.
And it's Team Liquid staying alive with all 4 players as well. Just the 3, rather. The curse continues. It's been very unlucky for them over the flow of the playoffs here with how many times they've gone down a man early. We've seen, though, they can be proficient with a trio. So if they lose another man, it becomes a bit of a problem. It could throw them into a stinker. Power were also sniffed out on their rotate up. You saw a couple shots go across from Alpha 7, but no over-engagement onto it.
Yeah. I think for Alpha 7 right now, they do have to leave. They know that eventually they're going to have to leave from this high ground. And it's not in such a way that it's problematic at the moment. But this does make it feel uncomfortable, I would say. Where you know on this next circle, likely you're going to have to clear out power, potentially Alliance, but it's not so comfortable that you might think about staying for a little bit longer. But yeah, for Alpha 7 right now, I do think that there is some immediate moves that need to be taken. Creo, good sprays on Twisted Mind. Start things off. They scatter back behind the rocks here.
Keep your noses clean, keep your heads down. They found Linux. He went for the long rotate around the back, but arrived on their portion of the map, and they did not want to give him any free space. Nice connection from Rat, oh boy. Puts the pressure back on, but it's so uncomfortable for him. Zone burning away at the HP. Bullets when he peeks up. I think he accepts his fate and knows that he's about to go down. So Revo takes the credit for that one. Zone rolls in. We say goodbye to Twisted Minds and Finn the Herd some more.
Vampire slowly have worked their way up the tables, I would say, over the last day. Still looking fairly decent. Typical Vampire fashion, though, is that, you know, come alive towards the end, but this tournament, it's not a case where other teams leave the door open. They've closed it and locked it tight. Just 2 teams really battling out towards that top end of the lobby. Mafioso barely can peek out before the bullets whiz past his forehead.
This is making it a bit more uncomfortable now for Alpha 7. Using a lot of the utility they had available to them. Haven't had many opportunities to restock in some time. There's the clap back. Good peek on the angle. Yeah. Revo heals himself up, wins out that fight versus the Tiamba man. Vampire still got their eyes on it. They see the quick rotate and know they're starting to advance.
Yeah, Alpha 7 is trying to squeeze as many points as possible out of this game. A quick step up with nade that comes through, but they're trying to angle these nades back on towards that overlook. Should be decent. Nice bounce on it as well. Jumps out the window and into danger. It bounces over the balcony and blows his legs clean off as he vaults.
Great bounce on the nade. The psychological games there proving to be the bigger piece of the pie, making it awkward. So Alpha 7 just focusing on those eliminations. just focusing on taking smart fights. I get an opportunity to grab a little bit more loot as well from the boxes that Tiamba leave behind. Alliance and Power at one point seemed like they could be a problem, but since then it's gone quiet. They set their attention back on the Liquid. Opening nades, cast across. They get close. If you get a nice nade through the doorway, Liquid could be on uncomfortable waters. Whoa, these are almost primed. The DBS is closing the gap though. Problems could be arising here. Liquid need to put the foot down.
Mythic just leaving a trail of mines in the front side, and like a mythical beast himself, will swing the jaws down on Alliance. You got Cluck on the side though, and they will clean them out. But what a defense Mythic had there. 8 eliminations on the game, and you're right, they were limping along with just the 3 players. Seems to be a curse that they cannot break. 4 elims for Alpha 7 once again into a top 5. A huge game for them to start off the day, and another lovely spray from Revo.
The energy's there for Alpha 7. They're playing with aggression now. They're starting to see the potential pathway towards victory, and they want to beeline straight towards it. Getaway maneuver from Vampire. They didn't like the fight they were thrown into. You crash into Power. It's an upset on the battle back. Al-Haji goes down, but Revo is still stealing away eliminations. Nades over the top, swept, lucky to be alive. Alpha 7 still see opportunities for more points. They close the gap. They're pushing on down. They want to finish this one with so many eliminations. Nades on target. There's the follow-up. Schweppes is blown away. Al-Haji, he's probably going to be talking out of commission now, and it's all about Alpha 7. They're just thinking about the last few pickups, take down the last 2 men, and close it with a chicken dinner and some points off the back.
Alpha 7 looking for the technical back-to-back from yesterday's game where they hit a high streak. Now looking to finish off Power and absorb some of that for themselves. It will be the last player here, and Alpha 7 takes themselves a chicken dinner at the start of the day. Yesterday, finishing strong, starting today strong. The Brazilians in the crowd happy about this one. Potentially, the curse can be finally lifted as they get a lovely lead to start things off. But it's not over yet for this team.
It's just beginning, but the first chicken dinner of Championship Sunday is Alpha 7's. They climb